By the middle of the Mesozoic era, there were a number of theropod dinosaurs which were small, possessed not only downy feathers but also flight feathers, and could potentially glide or even fly to a limited degree. But there were also then the first birds, and Archaeopteryx is recognized as the earliest bird because of a number of features. It would have been able to fly given the lengthened arms. It possessed flight feathers. It possessed a reversed big toe, a hallux, making it a perching foot. And in its skull, it possessed a few features which are more similar to those of modern birds or perhaps the later fossil birds than to the earlier theropod dinosaurs, such as the larger maxillary and premaxillary openings, the processes on the squamosal bone, and the teeth not being serrated. And in the palate region, the shape and processes of the palatine bone and the shape of the prootic and ectopterygoid bones. Although Archaeopteryx is recognized as a bird and had these avian features, nevertheless, it is easy to note the features of the skull which are more reminiscent of the non-avian theropods than of the later birds. So, for example, the skull bones have sutures between them, so one can identify the individual bones, while in modern birds, many of these bones are separate during embryonic development and then fuse to form a continuous cranium in the adult birds. In Archaeopteryx, as in theropod dinosaurs, the postorbital bone meets the jugal bone to completely surround the inferior temporal opening with bone. This postorbital bone is absent in modern birds, so there is no separate opening. Archaeopteryx possessed teeth. Now, that was the common condition of the theropod dinosaurs, although some lack them. And it was the common condition of the early birds, both the enantiornithine birds, which went extinct in the Mesozoic, and the early euornithine lineages of birds, at least until the end of the Mesozoic. But nevertheless, this is clearly different from modern birds. A more careful analysis of the bones of the skull of Archaeopteryx reveal a number of aspects which were more similar to those of non-avian theropods than those of later birds, such as the shape and processes of the postorbital bone, the shape of the ectopterygoid's jugal process, the shape of the parietal bones, the premaxillary bones not being co-ossified, the palatine bone being tetraradiate instead of triradiate as in later birds, and the expanded quadrate wing of the pterygoid bone. So clearly, although Archaeopteryx was a bird, its skull was not comparable to those of modern birds. The main differences are that modern birds have fewer bones, fewer contacts between bones, and then also cranial kinesis, the ability to move the upper bill relative to the cranium, especially in the neognathous birds.